Welcome to my first ever EV road trip video. This is not our first EV road trip, not by a long shot. I don't know how many we've done, but quite a few. What you're about to see is our first attempt at putting one of these to video. And we'll be taking this Ioniq 5, a 2026 limited rear-wheel drive, taking it through some terra incognito, so to speak, routes that we haven't taken before in an EV. And so there's a bit of an adventure to it, but otherwise it's amazing how routine it has become traveling by EV. And you always hear the stories and the questions about, does it have enough range? How far do you go between charges? How long does it take to charge? I think what you're going to see is that it takes less time to charge than what we need when we stop, and it doesn't need to stop nearly as often as we do. And so it actually has become not a limiting factor at all driving by EV. It's just different. This is only going to cover the first leg of our trip. It's about a 3,500 mile trip altogether. And this first leg is very unusual for us because we're only going about 560 miles and we're taking 2 days to do it, which is very different for us because we usually go at least 600 miles a day on our road trips. So let's get into it. So we're charging up and getting ready to leave later than usual because of where we're going in North Carolina to visit friends. We need to be there tomorrow afternoon. So if we waited till tomorrow morning to leave at our usual time of around 6 o'clock, it's already after 6:30 now. We would get there too late in the evening and not get to spend as much time with them. So we're going to leave a day early, spend the night on the way there, make it into 2 very short trips instead of 1 semi-long one. And so we'll get all packed up. We'll probably hit the road about 10 o'clock. We'll see what happens. Look at what this crazy map does. It wants us to stop at a Tesla charger in Jacksonville in order to make the Ioniq rechargery that is our intended first charging stop, and wants us to add 30% so that we can arrive with 20%, which would make sense except for 2 things. By the time we get there, we won't need that much charge because this thing is always pessimistic at the start. For the second thing, it always recommends Tesla superchargers. I got everything turned on, and the only way I can get it to not recommend a supercharger is if I take superchargers out on the map filter. So the car is kind of lame. So what I do is I just use PlugShare, and I figure out how far I can go, which I know from experience, and I pick that charger and I set that in my route, which is what I've done. So this thing is going to nag me unless I shut the voice off until it figures out that, yeah, I'll probably be able to make where I'm going, and if not, I got other options that are way better than a supercharger. Well, we're doing pretty well efficiency-wise, taking the back roads. I think we'll be back roads almost all the way to Jacksonville, where we'll hit Interstate 10. The car still doesn't think we can make it to the charger, but it's getting closer. I looked at it a little bit ago, and it's narrowing the gap. But we do especially well when we get stuck behind somebody doing 50 in a 55 zone. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. But it shouldn't last forever. And eventually we'll get to Florida 200, take that north up to Ocala, cross through Ocala, and then get onto 301 and head towards Jacksonville. So far, 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour after 1 hour of non-interstate driving. So having a good trip so far. You having a good trip, Mildred?
Sure.
Okay. Check back later. Okay, just a quick update. We had to make a pit stop at Wawa, which you can't really see from inside the car. I was lazy. What can I say? But now the car says we're going to get to the Ioniq charger at 6%. And by the way, at this Wawa, we had a gift card, so our lunch hasn't cost us anything. And we still have $130 credit at ChargePoint, which we can use at the Ioniq charger. So this trip today will be basically free except for the hotel tonight. So let's get going. But anyway, here's where we are right now. Wife had to make a little bio break. And so we're 151 miles into the trip, 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour so far. And we've got 104 miles to go to the charger in Brunswick, Georgia. And it says we'll get there at 3:02. Of course, that time's going to continue to slip until Mildred gets back to the car. But the prediction now Started out we were going to have to stop and charge and get quite a bit, but now it says we'll get there with 11%. So you can see how pessimistic the car is when it starts out, and it gradually gets closer and closer. Interesting that it's 11% because my target on arrival typically is 10% is what I shoot for, because that's a good arrival percentage. So anyhow, she's back, so I'll shut up. Let's go. Well, we're going to leave Florida. I guess that means we're going to enter Georgia. And here comes Georgia. This is why I hate Interstate 95. We just got onto that construction, which really didn't have any construction, just barrels. And now we're in the rain, and we're approaching another construction zone after only going 2 or 3 miles. Oh, and by the way, it's pouring, and we're doing about 40 miles an hour. So anyhow, not a great end to the day so far. Maybe we'll get out of this rain. I haven't looked at the weather, but we're moving along pretty well, actually, considering. It's raining so hard you can't even read the road signs. But it's 16 miles to our exit. Just get that far. Well, it's getting brighter up ahead. Rain's letting off a little bit. Maybe we won't get soaked at this charging stop. That's one thing they got to fix on the charging system. We need more canopies. Nobody likes to get drenched while they're fueling up. Well, I just checked plug share, and this Ioniq charger does have canopies, so that is nice to discover. We've never been to this one before. It's pretty new, and this is the first time we've traveled by EV of I-95. So we're kind of learning as we go, and thank goodness for plug share, because it shows us what chargers we have, how far they are, and what the price is most of the time. And so that's a very useful tool. And I'm amazed when I get to a charger at how many people I run into who've never heard of plug share. 3 miles to our exit, and one thing I haven't mentioned is we have a comma 4 now, which really helps with the driving. As a matter of fact, this semi just pulled over in front of us and slowed down. So just hit the turn signal and go around him. Keep an eye on things, ready to hit the brakes. Get closer to the charger, and I am ready for a bathroom.
Yes, we're going to North Carolina first, and then Tennessee. North Carolina, then Tennessee, then Ohio, and then finally next week sometime we head towards your house.
Here we are, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, 253 miles, and we are 17% state of charge, which is what the car has been predicting. Let's get charged up. Got a Buzz ID here, and several NACS connectors, and an Equinox EV, and a whole lot of other places to charge. I started it up with my ChargePoint app, so this will come out of my ChargePoint credit. Let's see how we're doing. Active sessions, and yeah, I want the one that's charging. And we're ripping at 243 kilowatts. That's almost full speed. Let's see how the ramp looked. I keep pushing the touchscreen. It's not a touchscreen. Okay, very nice. So let's see what the car says to 80%. That's our goal. What are we at here? 45 minutes to 100%, but I'm not doing that. 17 minutes to 80%, it says. Okay, well, we might not be quite that long, but we'll see. Okay, bathroom break is done. We've got 6 minutes to 80%. We're at 69% now. Notice it, 6 minutes to 80%, but 34 minutes if we wanted to go to 100%. That's why you don't sit there and charge to 100%. So just a few more minutes, and 5 minutes left now, and we will unplug. For some reason this wants to focus on everything except what's in the middle of the screen. All right, there we go. That's looking a little better. So let's go see what the charging curve looks like. Something new has been added. Got a couple of beamers here. ID buzz is gone. And the BZ or Solterra, whichever it is here. So, okay. Active sessions. And let's select the one that's charging. Still pulling 129 kilowatts at 71%. It says 4 minutes to reach 80%. So we'll stop recording now, and we'll just cool our jets for 4 minutes. Well, we got an hour and 3 minutes to the hotel. While I was trying to find the next charging station on the car's nav system, we hit 88%. We're still getting 46.7 kilowatts, but it's time to unplug and hit the road, because we're gonna get to that charger with about 27% or so tomorrow, probably more like 30%. So we were here way longer than we needed to be. So let's shut it off and select that one. And let's look at the charging detail. Come on. Oh. Yeah, that's the typical charging curve. Peaked at 255 and then worked its way on down from there. But it held that for quite a while. Too bad it doesn't tell you exactly what the percentage was, but I would say up to, I don't know, 40%. So, all right, back up and stop. Yes, I'm sure I want to stop charging. Stopping. But while you stop, oh, come on. Oh, there we go. $22.90 is what it would have cost. We're at 89% charge. Okay. And it's just that easy. We have a ribbon. It was exactly 70 miles from the last charger, and we are at the Baymont Wyndham in Port
Wentworth.
Port Wentworth. Yeah, Port Wentworth, Georgia. So that's our story, and we're sticking to it. And we got here with 63% state of charge. And well, I guess there's not much to tell about. So 70 miles from the charge and 63%, 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour, and it rained most of the way, almost all the way. So not bad. Okay, now that the digression is over with, what do you say we hit the road? Let's go to Bolivia, North Carolina. You didn't know there was a Bolivia, North Carolina, but we do, because we have friends there. Okay, we're on the road again, and we're in construction again. As you can see, right lane closed. Looks like they're working on a bridge. Anyhow, 33 miles to our exit at Charleston, 97 miles to our charger, and then we'll charge up and go from there. But so far the traffic isn't bad, so we can live with that. Well, that was amazing. We just went past a sign that said end road work. I wonder how long that's going to last. Look at there. Speed limit, we're back up to 70. It's been a while since we've seen 70. So away we go. It's finally all clear for a little bit. We've got 22 miles to go to our exit, 86 to go to the Mercedes-Benz Chargers. We've been on US 17 for a while, and it's turned into a very nice road. And kind of just going across this big old swamp. Of course, road construction. You can't get away from it around here. We finally got out of the construction on Interstate 95, and it turned really nice. And then we took our exit here for 17, and yeah, I can still smell the fresh asphalt. So anyhow, looking good. Looks like we're headed for 10:51 arrival at the Mercedes-Benz Chargers, and it says, still saying we'll get there with 27%. We will see. Well, here we are at the Mercedes Chargers in North Charleston. I picked these out off of PlugShare, and it seemed at the time like they were right along the route, but as we've been following the map and moving along, it feels like a bit of a detour. I'll have to look at the map later on and see if I've got it figured out. Anyway, here we are. We are at, moved to 28%. Did not want to arrive with that highest data charge, but driving slow and overcharging yesterday. So this will be a quick stop. I think we'll stop one more time before we get there, just so we don't get to our friend's house with a dead battery, or nearly dead. And so we'll probably swing by a supercharger or something like that later on. We'll figure that out later. We're charging. It's always a little bit squirrely getting the Mercedes Charger started. You have to use the ChargePoint app, but it's not always really clear on just how fast it's how to get it actually started and select your connector and so on. It's pretty vague. But anyhow, I muddled through it, got it going. I got a screen here that I want to take a look at. Yeah, this one. This is new. I forgot to look at this yesterday, but it says how much my maximum charging power is and how much the charger can supply and how much I'm taking in. So I'm asking for 205 kilowatts. The charger is still ramping up, and you can see that charging power continue to ramp up. Now it's met my demand. I'm only asking for 207 kilowatts. But that'll ramp up a little bit. But we got here with an outrageous, what's it, 27% state of charge. We're already up to 32. 16 minutes to 80%, and I'll let it charge while I figure out where we're going to go next and what we'll do next. The plan is North Myrtle Beach has some superchargers, so we'll stop by there. I'm going to get the paid subscription before I do that, and that way it'll save us some money. And so we'll go ahead and charge here because I'm using my ChargePoint credits, so it doesn't cost us anything. And the supercharger will be cheap, and we'll fill up there before we go on to Bolivia, North Carolina, and stop in to see our friends and spend a day with them. So I'm gonna hit the biff, and by the time we get back, we're 52% now. We might be about ready to go. Okay, well, I got a feeling we're overcharged because we walked over to a Chick-fil-A and ordered. They were kind of slow. Look at that, place to ourselves. So I think, well, when I left the Chick-fil-A, we were at 79%. So I'm guessing we're over 80%. So I'm hustling on ahead of Mildred so I can get back there and put this stuff down, get us unplugged. We can put those superchargers into the route planner and get back on the road. Okay, active sessions. Charging 90%. Yeesh. Wow. All right. Let's look at the cost. $24.05. Go back here, charging detail. And another typical charging curve, peaking at 255, just like yesterday. These Alpatronics HYCs are really terrific. Okay, let's stop this thing. Yes, I'm sure. All right, we're at 90%. It says finished. Let's go. Our stop at the superchargers will be a brief one, but Mildred's going to eat while we drive, and I'll have to wait till we get out on the open road and eat my chicken fingers. Well, once again, we got some extra charge, 82% at the superchargers. Got a little bit delayed because we were talking to the owners of a new 27 Habanero orange Chevy Bolt. It's a beauty, and they're enjoying it. So, okay, we got to hit the road. Well, we made it to Myrtle Beach. Stopped at the superchargers. We've got 33 miles to go, and it says it's going to take close to an hour to get there because we're going this fast. There we go, North Carolina. Oh, that went viral mighty fast. So, South Carolina was mostly road construction. Georgia was mostly road construction. Now we're in North Carolina. Here comes the road construction. Well, here we are with 73%. 37 miles from the charger. So, we'll figure out the numbers later on. All three of the stops along the way, they all had some kind of a holdup that delayed us. The holdups were never caused by the car. At the Chipotle, at the first place, the service was so slow, I gave up and put the soft drink back in the refrigerator. They also had a short talk with that new CHR owner. And then at the Chick-fil-A the next day, they had super slow service there, plus it was a long walk to the restaurant and back. So that slowed us down. And then my wife needed the bathroom when we got to the superchargers for that little splash and dash that turned into more than a splash and dash because, as is quite often the case with superchargers, there are no bathrooms close by, and she had to make quite a hike for that. And then I got talking to the Bolt owner too, so it keeps getting stretched out for human factors, not for technical factors. I did have some difficulty with entering destinations into the nav, but that was totally my own fault and probably only wasted less than a minute. So all in all, I thought we made pretty decent time. The charging time was about the same as what we would spend on that long of a trip on more familiar territory. Maybe 5 minutes longer. We did waste some time, but not a lot. The next video, we're going to cover the second leg of our trip that took us to Ohio, and it includes a day in Asheville, North Carolina, and it had way better scenery than what we saw on the first leg. So, hope to see you then.